Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this Data Analytics with Career Guidance training. Today, we are in day 3 of Power BI. Today, the topic will be Power Query Editor. Let's understand what is this Power Query Editor. Power Query Editor is about transforming your data. That is, I have some data. I will be editing the data. Okay. So if you want to edit the data, then we will actually import the data and we have a different window, different feature where it will help us in modifying not only the data, but also the structure of the table. So we'll go with one by one example. What I'll do is I'll just open Power BI. So I've already opened, and then we'll try to import the data. Okay, so I have the data here, which I'll be sharing it with you. Let me check this data. Let's open this data. So I have this data here. So let's take this data. Close this. And then go here, we'll try to import. So how to import? We'll go to this get data, Excel workbook. Right, selecting this Excel data, open. We'll also open a notepad, Power Query Editor. This is actually a ETL tool. This is ETL means extract, transform, load. Okay. Whenever you want to modify your data, that is the values, it can be text, number, or date. Or if you want to restructure your table, that is pivoting, unpivoting, or transposing your data. Or if you want to remove some columns or keep some keep some columns, or if you want to remove some rows or keep some rows. So there are various different things what you can actually work in this Power Query Editor. So I'll just make a list of things, whatever you can do. First, let's import the data. I'm just importing the data, and I'll tell you when you should actually use this Power Query Editor. All right, you can see the data here. Let's go to this data view, and you can see that we have the entire table here. Now, if you feel that you want to do some changes, modify some data, then we have to go to this Power Query Editor. For example, I have this customer name. I need to change this to uppercase. Or I have this order ID. I need to split this column. I want a grouped data. So if you want to do something like this, if you want to modify your tables, then you can use this Power Query Editor. So how to go to this Power Query Editor? Let's go here. We have this home tab. Here we have this transform, and we'll click on this transform data. When I click on this transform data, it will open a new window, Power Query Editor. If you see the same topic we had in our Excel classes as well. People, all of you are able to see the screen? I think there is one person, Adarsh, is saying that he's not able to see the screen. Adarsh, please check your system. Rest all are actually able to see the screen. So please check your screen. Okay. All right. So we are in this Power Query Editor. The same window is available in Excel as well. Okay. So let's try and understand how we can actually modify the data. All right. So before that, I'll just list down what all things we can do in this Power Query Editor. There are so many things what we can do. So first thing is we can modify the values. When I say modify the values, I can modify text columns. Then I can modify number columns. and then modify date columns. Right. Second thing, restructure of the table. That is, we can remove, keep columns. We can remove, keep rows. Right? Okay. After this, we can split columns accordingly. Then we can group data. Then we can pivot, unpivot table. Okay. And then we can append the tables, merge tables. Okay. We can append, we can merge, and also we can get columns by using some examples. And there are more other things what you can actually do, like you can merge the columns itself within the tables. There are so many things. I'll just tell you one by one. So first we'll see how we can modify the values, that is text, number, and date. Suppose, let me go here to this customer name. Okay. Here I have one column, customer name, where we have the names in proper case. I want this in uppercase. Now, when I say I want to modify, there are many different ways to modify. Suppose if you think that I want this column to be retained. When I say retained, that means I need this column, but I need to modify this by duplicating this column. So we'll see in all different scenarios. If you understand this concept, then Power Query Editor is very simple. First thing is, I'll go to this transform. Here I have this text column. And if I click on this format, you can see that I have this lowercase, uppercase, capitalize each word, trim, clean, and all these things. Suppose if you want to modify the selected column, I selected this column, I'll go to this format. And if I click on this uppercase, the column what I've selected is changed. So here you can see that the column which I've selected, the case has been changed. That is, it has changed to uppercase. Now, suppose if you think that I want to retain this customer name column as is, whatever is there from the source, but still I need to modify by making a duplicate column. Then what I'll do, right click, and here I have this duplicate column. I'll make a duplicate column. Here you can see I have one new column which got added, and then I'm selecting this. Here, let's say I'll change this to lowercase. This is one way of duplicating a column and then modifying it. Understand, I'm duplicating and then modifying. Suppose if you have the same requirement where I have, let's say, the customer name, I want to retain the customer name, but I need to duplicate, but still I need to modify it. I just showed you one example, right click, duplicate column. Otherwise, if you really want to make a new column, you want to really create a new column and then modify, here we have this add column. So understand, add column means we are trying to add a column. Here we have similar kind of options. I selected this customer name. We have this from text. I'll click on this format. Here you can see I have the same options. The same options what I have in this transform, same options we have here in this add column. Now, let's say I want to change this to capitalize each word. Okay, this has got all the characters, capital letters. I'll say capitalize each word. When I click on this, a new column is created. You can see that new column is created and the modifications, whatever we want to do, is applied. So the concept is, first we have to understand how the modification should happen. Whether it should happen in the same column selected, or I need to duplicate a column and then modify it. If you think you want to duplicate, either you can say right click and say duplicate and create a new column and then modify, or go to this add column and then you can modify by using these options. Okay, right. Next, Why it is called as Power Query Editor? Whatever actions you are performing. Now, I wanted to change the case. You can see that I changed lowercase, I changed to uppercase, or to the proper case, what we call it as capitalize each word. All these actions will be recorded, will be listed down. You can see that we have something called as query settings. And if you see here, all the steps applied here is available here. You can see I changed to uppercase, then duplicated, then lowercase, and inserted capitalized. So these are the actions what we performed. Everything will be listed down here. Everything will be listed down here. This is called as the queries. All the queries are listed. So why these queries are listed? When we do some actions, they're actually applied here. Next time, when you actually update your data to the same table from the source where you have imported, all these queries will be applied. So you don't have to do anything from beginning. So that is why these queries are available. So this will help us in applying the queries. That's why it's called as Power Query Editor. Here in Power Query Editor, we cannot say Control Z, undo will not work. We have to go here. For example, I don't want this action. I will delete this. So this way we can actually cancel whatever actions we have done. Okay. Suppose if this query settings pan is not available, don't worry. Go to this view. Here we have this query settings. Click on this. Okay. All right. So next, I'll be keep explaining about how actually you can modify. There are so many things to explain. I will explain the very important commonly used options. But after the session, I'll be sending you this data. Go and just explore. There are a lot of things here. You don't have to do, like write formulas or, break your head, a lot of things. Here, you just have to go and see the options and apply the actions. That's all, nothing else. Okay. Right. So we were actually working on the text part. I just tried to change the case. Likewise, if you go to this format, here we have this. If you want to trim, remove the unwanted spaces, clean, remove the non-printable characters. And also if you want to add, something before the text or after the text, you can use these options. Right. So this is about, formatting the text. Next, suppose you think that I want to extract the data. Let me make a duplicate. I can make a duplicate of the table itself. I'll go here. I just make a duplicate of it so that we can use for more and more options with the same table. Now, let's say I want to extract the data. Let's say I'll go here. I have this product ID somewhere. I saw this product ID. Let's go here. Okay. See, I have this product ID. Imagine that I want to extract first three characters, the first three characters. In Excel, what we do, we'll say equals left of 3, then I'll extract this. Here, you don't have to bother. I'll go to this add column. I want a new column. Suppose if you go to this transform, you can extract, but what happens is all the other characters will go and only these first three characters will be available. So what I'll do, I'll say add column. I'll say extract. Here you can see first characters. When I click on this first characters, you can see that I have this count. I'll say 3 and say, okay, see, the first three characters are extracted. Likewise, I can actually extract the last characters or the middle characters by using these options, that is last characters or range. I have some more options, that is text before delimiter, after delimiter, and text between delimiter. So what is this? Let me tell you. Not always these names will be with exact fixed number of characters. In this case, it is 3 characters, so it is extracting 3 characters. What if the number of characters, here before the delimiter is not uniform? That is, let's say here I have furniture, then here I have a few are. I want all the characters before the say delimiter. Let's say we can take something like this, where we have this customer name. See here we don't have the uniform number of characters before space. I want to get this first name. Let's select this. We'll use this only. I'll go here. I'll say extract text before delimiter. The delimiter, let's say I'll give space. Delimiter is nothing but the character which will separate your word. I'll say okay. Now If you go and check this, see, I'll get the first name. That means if you want to extract, there are no fixed number of characters, then go for this delimiters. Otherwise, go for these characters if it is fixed. Suppose if you think that I want to get the number of characters, let's say I'll select this column. I want to get the number of characters. I use this len. See, I'll get the number of characters. If you just see this, there are so many things what we actually do in Excel while writing formulas. Like I use len, I use left, mid, and right, or uppercase, lowercase, or proper case. All these can be avoided. Even in Excel also, we have same thing, this Power Query editor. So you can use this option so that you can avoid the formulas, right? So this is about how we can use the text column, say how to modify or transform your text columns. Suppose same thing, I can work on the number columns. I'm using this add column so that we'll have a new column. If you want to transform the same column, go and select and then transform. Now I've selected this quantity. I want to add some numbers to this. Let's say I want to add 100 for the entire column. I'll go to the standard. Here you can see add. Let me click on this add. When I click on this add, you can see that I'll get one text box. I'll say 100. I'll say okay. See, for the entire column, 100 has been added here. Likewise, I have subtract, multiply, divide. Okay, if you want to get the remainder, all these options you can get. Please try to work on this. It's very simple actually. I'll give you one or two examples which will make you understand. After that, you can go and you can use these options. I'll be sending you this data. All right. Suppose you think that I have some negative numbers and I need to convert that into positive numbers. You can see that in profit, we have some negative numbers. In Excel, we have the formula ABS. Even in Power BI also, in the DAX functions, which we'll be learning tomorrow, we have this ABS, which will convert your negative number to positive number. But now, by using this Power Query editor, see, I am selecting this profit column. I'll say absolute value. When I click on this, a new column is created, and you can see that I don't have negative numbers at all. All right. Next. Here we have some trigonometrical functions. If you think that you're working on some project and you want to get some values to be calculated, you can use this. And then a rounding off of the values. Let's take this only. Here I have some numbers. I want to round the values. Click here, I'll say round. If you think I want to round, say for 2 decimals, I'll say okay. You can see the values are rounded to the 2 decimals. You have this information where if you think that you want to get the numbers even, odd, if I select this is even, I'll get true. If the number is even, I'll get false if the number is odd. If I select this, the number is true if it is odd, otherwise it is false. Sign, this is like it will check whether it is positive, negative, or 0. If it is positive, it will give me 1. If it is negative, it will give me -1. If it is 0, it will give me 0. Let's try this. I will go to this profit. We have some negative numbers. Yeah. And say information, I'll say sign. A new column is created. And you can see that I have this -1 for negative, 0 for 0 values, 1 for positive numbers. Whether, sometimes what happens, we are creating some reports to count how many positive, how many negative, how many zeros are there. You can use this column. So whatever we are doing like this, the modifications, we can close this. Say if I say close and apply, this will take me to Power BI desktop, where we can use these columns and we can work. Okay. All right. So this is for the modifying the text columns and the number columns. Now let's go to one more option, how to modify excuse me, date columns. Add column. Let me select this date column. Say I'll go here, I'll select this order date. There are very interesting options for date. I'll go and click on this date here. See year, month, quarter, week, day. So we have so many options here. If I click on this year, if you think I want to extract the year, just click on this. That's it. See, year is extracted. Suppose if you want to get the first date, say first date of the year, sometimes we calculate YTD, year to date calculations. I'll go here. I don't have to write any formula. Just click on this start of the year. Automatically, I'll get start of the year of that particular column. Let's go here. Select. You can get end of the year. Similarly, I can go here. I can extract month, start of the month, end of the month. If you think I want to get the number of days in that particular month, I can use this. And if you think I want to get name of the month, if you click, see, I'll get the name of that particular month. See. So likewise, we can select the date column. Here we have this date column. Select and click here. See, if you want to get quarter, say quarter of the year, start of the quarter, end of the quarter, week of the year. So whatever information you want, you can just go here and you can just click on that, say day. Suppose if you think I want to get name of the day, click on this, it will extract like this. So it is very simple. You just have to go select the options, right? So this is for modifying the values. That is, you're trying to modify the values, text, number, and date. So you can go and explore. There are so many options. Please explore, because I cannot go and explain every single options. If you still want to learn in detail about all the options, you can go to our YouTube channel. It is iTech Analytics Solutions. There I have explained a lot of things in detail, one by one, tips and tricks. You can go and check that. Otherwise, you can take this data, go and explore by yourself as well. It is such easy. Okay. All right. So we just try to modify the values. Right. Next is we have how to restructure the table. When I say restructure, sometimes when I actually take this, say for example, I have one table here. Let's take this table. Anyways, I'll be not using this table. I'll use this table for restructure. This table, I want few columns, or I want few columns to be removed, few rows to be removed, or few rows to be kept. Go to this home tab. In this home tab, we have two options, that is manage columns, reduce rows. If you think you want to manage columns, you can use this manage columns. If you think you want to manage with the rows, then you can use these options. It's very simple again. I am having a big table here. There are a lot of columns. I want to go to some column. Go to this choose columns here. I have this go to column. Click on this. It lists down the entire columns here, all the columns in that particular table. Let's say I want to go to the sales column, select this and say, okay, it will take you to that sales column. Now, whatever you want to do, you want to study the data, you want to modify it, whatever you want, you can just do it. So what happens, instead of, scrolling like this right and left, we can use this option, right? Next, manage columns. I'll go here, I'll click on this. Here I have this choose columns. If you think that I have a very big table, I want only few columns, I'll go here, say order date, I want customer name, I want this region and sales, only these columns. Say okay, see, only those columns will be available, then I can work on these columns. All right, if you want to get it back, say just cancel this query, I'll get back all the columns. Or you can go here, say choose columns, you can select, say select all the columns will be selected. Similarly, if you think I want to remove columns, you can go here. Say, for example, I don't want this order ID. Select this and say remove columns. The column is removed. You can also select, say, for example, I don't want this ship date, hold control and customer ID and segment. I don't want these three columns. Go here, remove columns. All the columns selected will be deleted. If you think I want few columns, say order date, customer name and city, only these three columns I need. I'm selecting this, instead of selecting all the columns, I'm selecting these three columns, and here I'll say remove other columns. Right? So this is for manage columns. Now suppose if you think that I want to remove the rows and keep the rows, I'll go here, say keep rows. Here I have so many options. I'll show you some of them. Keep top rows. For example, let me just call this. Okay. For example, I'll go here. I'll say keep top rows. I want to keep top 25 rows. I'll say number of rows. I'll say keep top 25 rows. See, out of the entire table, only 25 rows will be kept. Similarly, say bottom rows, I can keep range of rows. Range of rows means from one row, I should specify one row. From that, how many rows I need. Suppose if you think I want to keep only duplicates, keep errors, I can keep the data like this. If you go to this remove is nothing but reverse of keep. If you want to remove top rows, I can remove it. Bottom rows, I can remove it. Alternative rows, we can remove it. Remove duplicates in Excel, we have this remove duplicates. We can remove the duplicates, or if you have some blank rows or errors, you can remove the rows. So likewise, we can actually manage with the columns and the rows, where if you want to keep some columns and remove other columns, we can do that. If you want to keep some rows and remove other rows which are not required, that we can actually do by using these options. So this way we can actually restructure our tables. Right. Next is we have split columns. Splitting of the column. Okay. I just showed you that we had something called as extract. So here we have this extract used to extract the data. This is to extract. Suppose if you want to split, when I say extract, what happens? Only if I want first name, only this name will be taken, the rest will be ignored. But split means it will split the column. Let's go here. We'll take this product ID. I want to split this column into 3 different columns. We have this split. Go to this home tab. Here we have the split. You can see split by delimiter, number of characters, position, and there are so many other options. I'll click on this split by delimiter. If you click on this, you just see the delimiter. What we have here is hyphen. By default, what it will do, it will study that data and it will give me the hyphen. And here I have different options, say leftmost. If I select this, only the leftmost will be considered, rest all will be in a different column. Rightmost, the last hyphen. So here it will be like FUR-BO one column, and the rest will be in another column. I'll go here each occurrence of the delimiter. So wherever I have this delimiter, we can see that they are into different columns. I'll say, okay. If we say this, the columns are split, see, 3 different columns. So you can select any column. If you feel that there are some columns to be split, you can go here. See, I have this one column. I want to split the data here like this. I have this hyphen. So I can use the, slash. Can use the slash and you can, for example, let's say I'll go here, split column. Here I have the delimiter. I'll click on this delimiter. Okay. I want the city now. Let's assume that I have one column like this. I want to extract city here. Here, if I say each occurrence, what happens? All the slash will be into different columns. I'll say rightmost delimiter, the rightmost, this one. Say okay. See, I have the cities extracted. This column is as is, only the last slash, whatever is there, that will get split. So you have to decide. You have to decide what are the columns I need. How can I actually split this columns? Right? Okay. So this way we can split the columns. Grouping of the data. Okay. Now what I'll do, let me just make a copy of it. I'm just making duplicates so that I don't have to import the data again and again. So I'll select this table. I'll go to this choose columns and let's select a few columns only. Let's say I want a region. I'll select this sales and profit. And then let's select one more column, segment, and 4 columns. I want to group. Okay. I want to group based on region and sales, only 2 columns. Grouping is what? Combining all the common values, and aggregating is for those say data, whatever we have combined for the unique values, then I'll be calculating. Here in this home tab, I have this group by. Okay, I have two options, basic and advanced. I can directly go to this advanced or I can use this basic. Basic is for only one column grouping, one column aggregating. But advanced we can use for one column or we can use for multiple columns. I'll show you both. Basic, I will select region. This is for grouping. Now here I have this operation, I'll say sum. And here it will ask for the column, I'll say sales. Here you can give name total sales. And I'll say, okay, just see region, which is grouping, sales, which is for aggregating. If I say, okay, see, the entire table is gone. Only these two columns which you have selected will be grouped. Now let me again go back. I want multiple columns to be grouped. Go to this group by. Now I'll go to this advanced. Here I have region. I'll say one more grouping column, that is segment. So region and segment. Now here I'll say sum and we'll take the sales. We'll say total sales. Add aggregation. Again, I'll say sum. Here I'll select profit. Say total profit. Say okay. See, this is for grouping of the bank. Right. Next. Pivot, unpivot. First, let's understand what is this pivoting and what is this unpivoting. This will help us in using this option. Now, if you see this table, which we just grouped, I have the segment here and I have the region here. I want this segment, whatever is there, to be as a headers, that is consumer, home office, okay, and corporate to be as a headers. In Excel, we use this pivot table where we drag the column and put in column header. Whatever the data is available, that will become like a header. Now, let me just remove this profit. We'll keep one column and say remove. I have one data like this. I want the segment to be as a header. Go to this transform. We have an option called as pivot column. Okay, select this, whichever column you want to pivot. That means whichever column you want to make it as header, I'll just select. And here I have this pivot column. I'll click on this pivot column. It will ask for the value field. Let me select this total sales as my value field. Now I'll say, okay, see, use the names in column segment to create new columns. That means all these will be column headers. I'll say, okay, see, the table is structured like this. Now consumer, corporate, and home office is actually the column headers now, which were actually in the rows. We just see the very big table. Now it got transformed to this format. So what I'm telling is, likewise, if you want to modify to whatever reports you are creating, you can modify your table, whatever you've imported. Say I import the entire data, and if you feel that I want the table structure to be like this, I want only few records, I want only few columns, you can modify that by using this Power Query Editor. So it is so very strong, so very easy to use. You can structure your data accordingly. Okay, right. Now this is pivoting. Suppose I have the table like this. I have a table like this and I need to unpivot. That means all these columns, I need to bring that into record wise. I will select all the columns to be unpivoted. Go to this transform. You have this unpivot columns. There are three options. One is unpivot columns, that is whatever columns you have selected, or you can use unpivot only selected columns. Or if you think there are so many columns to be unpivoting, I'll select whichever is not to be pivoted. Go here and say unpivot other columns. All the other columns will be unpivoted. So let me just select this. I hold control and then I'll say unpivot columns. See, again it will get back like this. So likewise, we can pivot or unpivot. Sometimes what happens is, let's say I have the table like this. Please concentrate, all of you. I have a table like this. I want to transpose. What is transpose? Consumer, corporate, home office should come here. in row headers. Central, east, south, west should go on top. That is as a column headers. Then how to do this? Let me tell you. Transpose, okay? The entire table is getting, the direction is changing. So what I'll do, I'll go here. I have this transform, here I have this transpose. Please be very careful. Most of the people actually, even the experienced people will do this mistake. So they'll click on transpose, okay? The data is transferred, the transpose the entire table, but see, I'm having only the region. We lost that category is what we had. Don't transpose like this. If at all you want to transpose, I'll tell you, go to this home tab. Here we have something called as use the first row as headers. This option is selected when, like this, say for example, if you're importing the data and you feel that the data is like this column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, where I have the data, you can see that the heading is in the data section. I'll say use first row as headers. Okay, this is for moving your header, which is in the data section, to header section. But when you're transposing, move the header to first row, because while transposing, only the data section will be transposed, not the header ones. Go to transpose and as a transform and click on transpose. Now you can see here I have this consumer, corporate, office, home office, and here you can see the region. Now I will move this home tab, use first row as header. See, that's it. I can see that the entire table is transposed. If you want to change the column header, you can change the column header like this. Right? So this is about pivot, unpivot, let's say transpose as well. Okay. So before we go to these two options, let's do this and then we'll go for these two options. Columns by example. Okay. Columns by example is exactly like what we have this flash fill in Excel. So what is this? Say for example, let's do one thing. I'll go to this choose columns. We'll choose a few columns because if you have more columns, it will be confusing. Let's take a few columns only. Say order date, ship mode, customer name, region, state, sales. Okay, enough. Okay, I have few columns here. I want to create a column without writing any formulas or merging or something. What I'll do is I'll go to this add column. Here we have this column from examples. You can select from which column I need to extract the columns, or I'll say from all the columns. You can see that all the columns are selected here. You just have to type, say for example, I want to extract the first name, or if you want to extract something, let's go here. Let's say Claire. See, first name we extracted. You can see that I just typed only this Claire. All the first name is extracted automatically. So Claire is from Kentucky. See the spelling, it should be exactly same. Kentucky state. Enter. Is it same? Let me type this. See, you can see automatically I can get the complete merged column here. So likewise, you can use anything. You can say, if I say, okay, there's a column which gets created like this. So I didn't do anything. I just typed, so I gave some examples. Just give some examples automatically. It will give me something like this. So you can use any columns. Just give an example. It will try to understand what actually you need, and then it will merge, extract, whatever you are doing, by using these options, whatever we have here. So those things can be done here as well. So this is another option of creating another column by using the columns which is already existing and giving some examples. Based on that examples, a new column is created. Right. Next, what we'll do is we'll understand these two options. These two options are very interesting, very important, and something related to combining of the data. Okay, for this, I have two different tables, append, query, and merge data. So we'll use this. Let me import the data. Okay. So I'll be sending this data to you. You can also use that. The new source, Excel workbook, select this append query, say okay. Just importing this data. And I'll say okay. Table 1, table 2, table 3. I have three tables. I need to append the tables one below the other. Appending means adding the data, one table below the another table, like it goes on like this. Table 1, I have 10 records. There are some null values. Table 2, I have some records, that is 11 to 25. I've just given the row number so that it will be easy for us to know how the data is appended. Say in the first table it is 1 to 10. In second table it is 11 to 25. In third table it is 26 to 50. Now what I'll do, I want to append this. I'll go here in this home tab. You have this append queries. I'll click on this. You have this append queries, and append queries has new two options. Append queries, what it will do is with the selected table, it will append. But I want a new table. I'll say append queries as new. If you click on that, it lasts for 2 tables or 3 tables. You can directly go to this 3 tables. That is, I can specify which all tables I need to append one below the other. If you think I want only 2 tables, you can go here, say table 1 and table 2, only 2 tables you can append. But I'll go to this 3 tables. I'll go here, the table 1, table 2. I'll select this table 3. Table 1, table 2, table 3. I will say okay. All the 3 tables are actually appended. Now what to do with this null data? Go to this home tab. Here I have this remove rows. See, remove blank rows. All the blank rows are removed. See. So likewise, we can append. Appending is very easy, but make sure that the column headers are same. Even if one column is not actually matching, say instead of customer name, it is customer names in one of the tables, that itself will be considered as a separate column, and the other columns from other tables will be null values. Okay, so this is append data. Okay, we are trying to append the tables, that is getting the table one below the other. Merge. Let me import this table. Okay, I have these two tables. I'll say okay. Table 1, table 2. Okay, merge is what? Merge means we're trying to merge two tables. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, merge two tables by using a common ID. If you know SQL, anyways, we'll be doing this SQL in the next course. If you know SQL, already know SQL, there is something called as joins, which will help us in joining the tables. Here, in this table, I have this order ID as common. In this table too, also we have this order ID as common. When I'm actually merging, we should also see the IDs which are matching. In this case, order ID, I have the 001 up to 025. And in table 2, I have 001 up to 015 and 101 to 110. That means if you check both the tables, 15 records are only matching. That is, they are identical, or we can, merge. If you take this same example in Excel, we actually have this VLOOKUP. If you want to get the data, we need to have the matching records. So 15 records are only matching. In merge, we have 4 different type of joins. Let me mention that. Inner join, okay? Left join. We can also call it as left outer join, say right join, and then we have full outer join or say outer join. Okay, let's take it as outer join only. Inner join, outer join, left join, right join. Just remember, it is very easy to remember inner, outer, left, and right. How the tables are actually merged by using these joins, let me tell you. It's very simple actually. Go to this merge queries. Select this new so that we'll have a new table. I'll just select this. And here we'll have the option of selecting the tables. I'll select this table 1 and I'll select this table 2. Merge table 1, merge table 2. They are joined by using this order ID. You can see that they are joined. I'll go here. I have this inner join. See, only matching rows. Only matching rows. I will say OK. When I click on OK, both the tables are merged. You can see only 15 records are there. The first table, what we selected, that is table 1, is available here. The table 2, it will ask what are the columns we need. Select this. It's a small icon here to merge. I just selected it. Click on this. Whatever columns you want, you can go and you can select here. Let's say I want all the columns. I'll say, okay, you can see that all the columns from table 2 is available here. All right, so this is inner join. Means all the common IDs are merged. The tables are merged based on common IDs. The matching records. Let's work on left table. Go here, table 1 and say table 2. Select this. The IDs, okay? The selection, the joins are same. This will be first table, this will be second table. The first table is called as left table, second table is called as the right table. Now I'll say left join or say left outer join. All right, so here we know that 15 records are matching and 10 records are not matching in each table. When I select this left outer join, all the records from left table will be taken. Only the matching records from right table will be taken. If I say okay, see here, we have all the 25 records. I have this icon. I'm just clicking on this. And here I will say okay. See, 15 records, the matching records are available. Rest all will be null records because we don't have IDs from 016 to 025. This is left join or left outer join. Same thing we have right join, which is just, reverse of it. I will select table 1, I will select table 2, and here I will say right join. Select and say okay. Right, here I have the 15 matching records. I will merge this. If you see, I'll get 25 records from table 2, but the unmatched records from 101 to 110, here I have the null values. This is called as right join. Full outer join, all the records from both the tables. Merge queries as new. I'll select table 1 and I'll select table 2. And here I will join this by selecting. And then here, let's say I'll select this full outer join. Full outer, all the records from both the tables. I will merge this. See, I have this 15 records which are matching. 10 records from right table which are not matching will have the null values. 10 records from left table will be having null values in the right table. This is full outer join or outer join. Apart from this, in Power Query Editor, we have 2 more joins. So what are those? That is left and right anti. So what is this? I'll tell you. Left anti and right anti will give me only the unmatched records. These records. If you see here, I have this unmatched records here. Only the unmatched records. How? Let's go to this merge queries. merge queries as new. Let me select table 1 and I'll select table 2. I'll select these two IDs and here I'll say left anti. Rows only in first table, that is this table, which are not matching. I'll say okay. You can see I'll get 15 records which are not matching. Even if you merge, I'll get only null values here. This is left anti. Similarly, I have right anti. I'll get all the unmatched records which are in right table. Let's go here. I'll select these two tables, select the column which are matching, which we used to join, right anti, and then I'll say okay, merge. See, 10 records from right table and unmatched records, whatever is there here, this will be null values in the left table. So this is right. So these are some of the majorly used options in Power Query Editor. Apart from this, there are so many other options like fill. If you have blank values, if you want to fill that. If you want to reverse, say for example, I have this table here. Okay, I have the table here. If you think I want to reverse rows, I can click on this reverse rows. The entire table, that will get reversed. Let's take the table which has got, see, I have the row ID. I'll go here, say reverse. See, the entire table will get reversed so that I can know how many records are there, because like Excel, we cannot keep scrolling the data here like this. Suppose if you don't have the serial number in this table, I didn't have the row IDs. Then what I'll do, I'll go to this add column. Here I have this index column. You can create the number, say from 0 or from 1, or I can customize myself. Say, if you click on this, I'll get, say, from 0, I'm getting the serial number, or from 1, I can go here, I can get it from 1. If you still want to customize it, I'll go here, see, custom, and I'll say from 101, I need the numbers, the series with two numbers increase, say 101, 103, something like this. See, I can get like this. So likewise, there are so many simple things where we can go and we can select them, and then we can, apply the modifications. So otherwise, if you think you want to check the the column quality, click on this. It will show me the quality. Valid means it is good quality of the data. In this case, it is 100%. If you have errors, then it will show me what are the errors. Empty, the null values. Say we'll go here. So here we have the null values, right? See, 40% of them is null values here like this. It will show me the quality. Valid is 60%, 40% is null values. If there are any errors, it will show errors as well. Okay. So this is about the Power Query Editor. Let me also mention it. I'll share this with you people. Say reverse rows and then index. Okay. I'll share this with you so that you can have the steps. You can follow the steps and you can work on the Power Query Editor. Otherwise, if you still want all the options, go to my YouTube channel, that is iTech Analytics Solutions. Subscribe there, you'll get all the tips and tricks. Also, you can check in our app as well. There also we have a lot of topics which helps you in improving your skills in Power Query Editor. Okay, right. So this is what we have. I'll stop here now. Before I go for the question section, there are some questions which is already asked. Before we go to this question section, I want 1 minute of yours. How did you feel about this session? 1 minute, I want from all of you, quickly give me the feedback and then I'll take the question. Good. Quickly, I'll just give 1 minute. Good. Rakesh saying perfect session for morning. Thank you. New things learned. Good. The same thing you can apply in Excel as well. Okay, you can go and check. We have the get data. You can use that. Okay. All right. Okay. Now let me take some questions as well. Okay. Thank you so much. They also provide the training, but not so much deep training. Really happy to attend it. Thank you, Krutagna. Krutagna, right? Okay. Thank you, Krutagna. You can, if you are new joining, then please go and check all our other videos as well. Okay. Right. Fine. So let's take the data. Okay. I'll explain. Okay. So there were a few questions. I missed it. Let me just go back. Okay. So Sudhir is asking about the data. The data will be shared, and people, this is not a workshop. It will become very difficult for me to give you the data and make you work along with me because this is not workshop, because we have very less time. So I am providing you the data in the app. So please go and download that and work. This video is also shared. Okay. So Sudhir and whoever, okay, who is actually expecting the data will be shared. All this data, it will be there in the app, and you can also go and join our WhatsApp group where we'll be keep sending you the links. So there you can download and you can practice. Okay. All right. Even the video also will be shared. There was one more question. So let me take. Okay. People, if I have missed any questions, please you can ask again. Let me check. There was one more question actually. How many tables can be appended? There is no limits. We can have the number of tables to be appended, but there are various other ways to append the data. You don't have to import the data and do it. If you think you want to append, you can put all the data into one folder. You can check our previous session. There is one option where we can go append the data by using the folders. You can use that. Sai Anish, you can check the previous video. We have given that example there. Okay. I'm new here. Can you please share the YouTube link and app link? Okay. YouTube link, you can search for iTech Analytic Solutions. App link, I will send you. Okay. You can, oh yeah, let me just send you. You can go to this ITS INC and then you can go to this courses. Here we have all the webinars. Okay. There are so many free webinars. You can use this link. Okay. Use this link. Okay. Sir, I want to add Bharat Nagappa. How many tables can be merged? At a time, Abhilash, at a time we can merge only two tables. Okay, only two tables. So once you merge, again you can take one more table and you can merge. But usually what we do is in that case we use SQL queries. Okay, that we'll be discussing in the next course. Bharat, this I will tell you tomorrow. Okay, we can do this. For this, we can actually use DAX functions. So tomorrow there is DAX functions. People who are interested in learning about DAX functions, you can attend tomorrow's session. Okay. Right. Can we export the modified data? Exporting, no, I don't think you can export, but there are different ways. I'll tell you how to actually do that. Right. How to rearrange the columns. That is not required because we are creating the reports. We are dragging and dropping. Okay. So not required. This is something like SQL where we can have the data. Let it be anywhere. We can just drag and drop. We come to this reports, Bharat, you'll understand. You'll not be bothered about how the columns are arranged. I'll tell you when you come to these reports, how actually we can manage these columns. I have one question. Yes, Sai, quickly. Sai Anish has got one question. Sai, please ask soon. It's already time. Yes, Sai, you can speak.
Hi, sir. We are everything doing Power Query Editor here only. So in the database, we have to write like any custom SQL queries for editing.
See, I'll tell you, to get the data, okay? Either
Yeah.
I can get the data modified before only and then import, or I can import and then modify. Okay, you understood? So I can modify the data previously and then import the data and start creating the reports, or I can import and then modify. Depending on the data, depending on the amount of data, we have to decide. For example, if you think there are some data, which is a raw data, every time it needs some modifications. If you are modifying that before and then uploading, what happens? It is time consuming. But in Power Query Editor, we have that queries listed. If we import the data, okay, let's say I have a raw data, every time I don't have to modify it, I will just connect all the queries which are already available in Power Query Editor will be applied on the data what we have imported. Okay. But if you're modifying that before only, then efforts are more. Or if you think there are some queries which you're actually writing in SQL and then importing, that is also fine. So there is no rule that you have to modify, then import, or import and then modify. Depending on the data, you can take a call.
In like any test cases, we have to write the like any query editing. So that can be done in the this Power Query Editor, or we have to go to the database.
I can see, I have, let's say, for example, I have, 5 tables to be combined, okay, merged, 5 tables to be combined. Now, if you go to this Power Query Editor, we have the option of merging only 2 tables at a time. It doesn't mean that we cannot merge all the 5 columns. We can do it, but we have to do one by one. But the same thing what we do in, let's say I'm taking data from SQL Server, I'll write the join queries there, because there we can join multiple tables, and I'll create one query and then I'll call that query in the Power Query Editor, sorry, this Power BI. So now the entire merging is happening from the SQL itself. But suppose if you think that I'll import all the tables and then I'll try to merge in Power Query Editor, then again the efforts are more here. So depending on the situations, depending on the scenarios, we have to take a call. In this case, when I gave this 5 table, for me, I feel that SQL query is very easy. I'll merge in SQL and then import the data to Power BI. Suppose if it is like only 2 tables, like what we did with the examples, there we just go take the tables and then merge it in the Power Query Editor itself.
So in any case, we won't write any editing options here in the Power Query Editor. Any like
No. No.
thank
Right. Look. So Abhilash, how can we merge the sheets? Please go and check our previous video, that is day 2. This option is already there. I don't know whether you attended the previous session. Please go and check the video. It is available there. Okay. Right. People, if you have any questions, you can post it in the WhatsApp. I am there in the WhatsApp group. You can take the number and you can message. Okay. So tomorrow we have the DAX functions. Okay. I want all of you to attend this DAX functions. Very interesting. I'll make it more easy for you how to work on the DAX functions. So I'll meet you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Thank you so much. See you guys. Bye-bye.